Hey y'all, hi. Okay, today trying new makeup. I can't believe I haven't talked about the Merit, the uniform on camera yet because I've been testing it for a while. I also have these Makeup Forever things that really piqued my interest in new makeup hot takes a while back, and a couple of other random things. If this happens to weirdly, by some coincidence, be your first time watching my channel, welcome. My name is Hannah. I make fashion content and beauty content, about equal parts of both. Lately, what's been happening is that it comes in waves. So I'll be posting like 6 fashion videos in a row and then like a huge chunk of makeup videos in a row. I don't know why that's happening, and maybe we need to take a look at that on our end. Anyway, we're in a makeup moment right now. We're in like makeup season. I'm also a poet. I'll link my book down below. My first book won the Anthony Hecht Prize for Poetry from Waywiser Press last year. So check it out if you haven't, and let's get into the meat of the video. When I was combing through my items, trying to gather together the new makeup for this video, it's not all first impressions, actually. It's actually not trying new makeup. It's like applying relatively new makeup and telling you what I think of it. It's like reviewing new makeup. And some of it I'll be trying for the first time, but mostly not. Anyway, I came across this. I pinned my hair up to go on a walk today, and I still haven't taken it down. So I wasn't pinning it for fashion. When I pinned it up, I was just trying to get it out of my face and off of my neck so that it wouldn't get sweaty. And then I was like, well, I might as well leave it up because I'm filming. I don't know. So I saw this, but is this going to look even more ridiculous? First of all, I feel like it's small for me. I feel like it's made for teenagers, and I'm a woman. Is it a little preppy? It makes me look a little preppy, and I'm actually a ragamuffin. I don't know. I don't know if we can take me seriously like that. That headband is from Versed. So if for some reason I just made that look really good to you and you want your own, that's where it came from. It's from the drugstore makeup brand Versed. Okay, let's get into it. Merit, the Minimalist. So this is in the shade 30. I think it's the lightest shade. I bought this myself to review, or I bought it with the budget that the channel, as a business that I run with my husband Joe, the business has a budget with which to acquire things for review specifically. So that's the way in which this got to me. There's no information on it. Tinted mineral sunscreen, broad spectrum SPF 45, but there isn't any like other copy on it really. So you can see it's kind of liquidy, but it isn't super runny. Like it's not a serum. It's definitely got body. The pump holds its own, and then it sort of starts to settle and drip if it's held vertical for too long, which is really just kind of tells you everything about the formula and how it performs. That is really everything about it. It just settles like a jello kind of. But before we get to that, the shade. It's the same issue that Merit had when they launched their complexion sticks before they expanded the shade range, which is that the lightest shade is just pretty peach. Not that light. So I swatched it. I'm so sorry. I swatched it next to Salt New York Sneaky Balm in N13, which is the lightest shade of the Salt New York. And the Sneaky Balm range is all incredibly neutral, kind of olive, and just like really looks like real skin rather than being extremely yellow or extremely pink, which a lot of complexion shades are all across the shade range. But it's particularly valuable in the lightest shade because it's so rare, right? It's like this and then the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Tint in T1.5 are like true pale olive. So this is the ideal. And then we have Merit over here. Honestly, it really looks like a pastel orange, like a pastel coral. You know, if you had a shirt this color, it would really be like an orange shirt. That's how it looks in a thick swatch. My experience with this, as was my experience with the Merit complexion stick before they expanded the shade range, the new 2 lightest shades are much more workable for me of the Minimalist, which is Merit's complexion stick. The former lightest shade, I was able to work with it because the formula is supposed to sheer out and kind of have your skin color as an ingredient in the color, a visual ingredient. So the thick swatch looks really peach. On the skin, it's again, not my dream, not even close to my dream for a shade, but workable enough for me to have worn this a lot and gotten a sense of what the formula is like. However, it works better for me if I use green color corrector, so I'm just gonna do that quickly. Otherwise, all of the redness on my skin would be showing through the product and kind of mixing with the product, which is already a little bit too dark and a little bit too red or peach for me. So this kind of gives it a leg up, helps it do its possible best, helps me give it the benefit of the doubt, right? Which it does kind of need a little bit. I feel a little bit artless today. I was like wielding the wand with my left hand and rubbing it with my hands, which I actually like for that color corrector, but I need to get myself together. Here we go. I'm rubbing it in with my hands because of the type of product this is. It's billed as a sunscreen. It's labeled Tinted Mineral Sunscreen. It really feels like a lotion or like a skincare product, kind of like a gel lotion. That has given me a pretty thin application in terms of color, right? You can see here, it's on this side of my face, and I put it only on this side of my forehead and chin as well. So it's like exactly half and half. It's quite subtle with this application. It's a little bit hard to see. Close up, it really looks like skincare, like a skincare finish on the skin. It just looks dewier. It looks a little bit more nourished, a little bit plumper. My redness and sort of the slight blotchiness of natural skin close up, has just been smoothed over and kind of blurred into something a bit more homogeneous. So it really is given to like the tiniest boost to the skin. For a lot of people, I think that's going to be really nice. Like if you don't wear makeup, if you don't really want coverage, if you don't want it to look like you're wearing makeup, if you don't want it to be fussy and you're worried about overdoing it, and you can find a good shade match. I mean, again, it's so subtle that it's not bad. It's just, it would be so helpful for me if this product was in the shade of the Salt New York N13 or the Lisa Eldridge, or even if it was just green, like a color corrector, a green color corrector of this texture, maybe with a little bit of pigment, the color of my skin. That would be so helpful for me because I would feel like it was furthering my aims in terms of really evening out my skin. Color-wise, it's sort of neutral. It's helping a little bit with the overall tone, but I feel like I have to work with a green color corrector. I feel like I have to make sure that it doesn't make my skin the color of the swatch. Overall, applied this way, just with the hands, rubbed into the skin, used as a sunscreen essentially, I think that there is a lot of potential for it to be great for a lot of people. I have just found, let me finish it and then I'll give you my final thoughts because I have been using this for a while. I just wanted to give you the half and half. So I'm pausing with kind of a large amount of it just on my cheek on this side so you can see that the pigment is there. I've sort of been talking a big game about how much it shears out and becomes one with the skin and how your skin shows through, and the fact that it's so orange or so peach doesn't really have that much an impact, but you can really see the pigment is there. It's very makeup-like as it's going on in terms of the amount of pigment. It doesn't feel like a tinted sunscreen, honestly. It feels like a hybrid between a sunscreen and a very light sort of sheer coverage base, or even like a medium coverage base when it's going on. And I think for a lot of people who aren't used to wearing makeup and who get this because it feels like it's not really makeup, it's going to feel quite makeup-y. Putting it on, it's going to be like, whoa, this is my makeup, And funnily enough, with it on my whole face, you can get more of a sense of that, right? You can see how my skin sort of blanked out. It's brightened. I look a bit like I have on foundation and nothing else, but it looks like a light and quite glossy foundation. As always with Merit, the formula is really good. It's a balance of a lot of things, and they're managing to keep the balance. I think often in makeup, when a formula is trying to do too many different things, it sort of falls flat and doesn't succeed at any of them. In this case, that was what I worried about. When I first got it and I started playing with it, I worried that that is what had happened. But when I learned, and as a reviewer, it was weirdly sort of my most important thing that I came away with which to tell you, when I learned that you have to treat it like a skincare product and rub it in with your hands, then it started to make sense for me. Because it's Merit and it's makeup, and because of how I like to apply makeup, the first thing I did was try to put it on with a brush. And it ended up, like, look at it on my hand. Like, see how wet it has stayed after all of this time, and how it has sort of done that gel-like thing where it's settled, like slime, like slime, you squeeze it and then it just settles into this really smooth surface, like blah, blah, blah. It does that. And so when you put it on with a brush, it goes on sort of streaky and gel-like, and then it sort of settles, but then there's too much. Like the brush will have applied too much with its bristles, and you think that it's the right level of application, but then that's because it's still sort of streaked from your brush bristles. And then as it settles, you have like this thick, wet, gel-like, not soaking in, not drying stuff on your face. When I first started playing with it and applying it with a brush, I was like, this is so much, it's so weird. And then the color was too peach and too dark, and so it wasn't looking good. Just know, if this is sounding like it could work for you, you really have to treat it like I did today and just rub it in with your hands like a sunscreen. But here's my other thing I have to say to you, like a second sunscreen, because the pigment is enough that you're not going to want to put on the amount that you would need, I think, to really get good, reliable sunscreen coverage. Maybe that's not what the brand says, maybe that's not what other people are saying, but that's how I feel feel about this. Put on your sunscreen, your face sunscreen for the day, which I've been doing as the last step in my skincare routine, and then use this as like a moisturizing tint, a lightweight foundation that has the added benefit of doubling your SPF protection. I was sort of combing through the weeds with it, trying to figure out application, what it is, sunscreen, foundation, skin tint, skincare, makeup, and that was where I landed. With this type of application, rubbing it with the hands, it doesn't stay wet and jelly and tacky the way that it looks like it would because of how it's acting on my hand. And that peachiness, I mean, it's there. It's there to me because I know how it would look if it were more like the shade of my actual skin, and it would look so good. And instead it looks fine, but it's not giving me that, you know, that perfect, really sort of glowy, balanced thing. And I also know there's a bunch of green color corrector mixing into the color, helping it along. My ultimate judgment on this, like where I've come down, is that it's just very impressive. My main issue with it is the shade. So I hope they expand the shade range to include something that is exactly like Salt New York N13 or exactly like even the Lisa Eldridge T 1.5, which is a little bit yellower and darker. Even that would be better. But overall, it's just very impressive. Like, how do they do it? How do they make something that manages to not look like anything on the skin, but really improve the quality of the skin, manages to sort of even out the tone of the skin, but without feeling like you're really putting coverage on the skin? It's got this lovely finish that stays nice and sort of satiny, glossy throughout the day, but doesn't look like makeup, looks like real skin, isn't goopy, but isn't nothing either. I don't know. They always kind of manage to do a beautiful job. In spite of that, I find myself shying away from this because of the color. Like, I've been wearing Salt New York Sneaky Balm a lot more lately because the color's so perfect and I just love it. And it similarly gives a really lovely finish. But, you know, Merit essentially hit it out of the park like they always do. Okay, here's something that I have either never tried or had a really long time ago when I was a child and haven't used since. This came in PR from NARS. It's just their regular Radiant Creamy Concealer. And I actually haven't tried this. It's in the shade Chantilly, which is the shade that I use for the Spot Conceal. NARS's light shades tend to run really yellow. Maybe the whole shade range does, but I only know for sure about the light shades. That's better for me than something running really, really peach like the Merit. I do think my skin looks really good. Maybe a little peach though. I'm loath to mess it up by putting too much on, but I do want to try this. So I'm going to put a little bit, the littlest bit, and then like Spot Conceal. Basically, I'm trying to like make the really aggressively peach parts of my face a little bit yellower, just tone them down a little bit and get a little more coverage there. Okay, that blended out beautifully. It feels moussey. Coverage is lovely. My forehead's looking a little dry and it kind of grabbed to the dry patches. But overall, I'm really happy with it. And I do think it helped to balance out the pinkness of the Merit. However, I really love this Sarah Crayon brush. I think it's weirdly expensive and probably for what, I'm not sure. Every time I try a new concealer, I use this brush to do it. I'm like, this concealer is amazing. And then later it often ends up being just that this brush applies concealer in a really beautiful way. So it could be that, but I will definitely keep using it. I'll definitely keep using that NARS concealer, especially in situations like this where I just want to give a little balance, a little boost, and I don't want it to be too pink and I don't want it to be too glossy because it's kind of like a matte, a satin matte. It's just so reliable. NARS formulas, I feel like always are. Okay, here's another thing I haven't tried actually. And then we're getting into some other things that I have reviewed. So this is from Beauty Pie. This was PR. I was gonna say that it was clearly the dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight Wand, and that's what intrigued me. But it's just the packaging that's the same because when I squeeze it out, it was so runny. Look at it. And Charlotte Tilbury is a much stiffer sort of highlight cream, and this just feels like, so it's Triple Beauty Luminizing Wand. It's a highlighter, but it feels really serum-y. I don't know if I want to put it on. So it's very pretty and it is really glossy and I really like the look of it. And because it's so oily, the, again, kind of dark peach color isn't showing up as that. It's just, I felt like I could put it in a lot of places and it's just blending in with my makeup that's there, looking really natural and looking like part of the face. It's so oily that I feel like it's not going to set. I feel like it's going to eat away at the makeup that's underneath it and almost act like a makeup remover. Like this is the texture of a gel cleanser, like an oil gel cleanser makeup remover. It feels like it might not play well with others, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, Beauty Pie, they send me PR. I've never purchased from the brand. Like I don't really even know what their deal is. I don't really see other people talking about them. It's just often when I'm trying new makeup, it's like, oh, oh, there's this thing from Beauty Pie, so we'll just try it as well. And sometimes the stuff is really impressive. Like some of the bronzer, I think it was like the cream bronzer has been really nice, but I'm a bit out of touch. Like I don't know what they're doing. I don't really know what to expect from them. And so all I know is like what I have right before me. And I think the shine is really lovely, but the formula, it's just really oily. And I wasn't expecting that at all. So we'll see. Maybe it got mixed, didn't get mixed enough, or I was just shocked because I was really expecting a Charlotte Tilbury dupe and it's really not. I think if you don't wear base and you just want to really gloss up your skin, it's like an oily, like a very thin, it's like a lip oil for the face. That's what it feels like. A lip oil for the face. Then that could be the one. It is pretty. Okay, moving on. I also just realized I forgot to do my brows. I'm going to do that really quickly. I'm just going to use the $1 Billion Brow Gel and then a little bit of the Typology Fiber Building Brow Gel, which is exactly what I did when I filmed yesterday. I like how my brows came out yesterday. I'm going to try again today. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit of the $1 Billion Brows Gel into my brows, and then while it's still wet, going in with the Typology. The $1 Billion Brows is just a regular brow gel that's extremely strong hold. Like that's its function. And so I'm putting in a little bit of it to hold my brows really in place. But before they can set, using the Typology, which is one of those like fiber building brow gels, it's like adding body to the hairs of the brow. So I'm putting it through my brow hairs and just making sure not to touch my skin with the wand or with any of the bristles of the wand because I don't want to deposit that pigment onto my skin. I just want it to wrap the individual hairs of my brows. And so it's mixing with the really strong hold gel, making like a sort of a fibrous, fluffy brow that is very set in place. But it's a pretty imprecise art. I've ended up with kind of wild, slightly filled in, natural looking, and a bit wild brows. I feel like I need a third tool, which is just a spoolie to go in and like push some hairs into place. So I'm just using this little Merit spoolie that I have on hand. I really like this result, this natural looking brow. The hero product is definitely the Typology. Like that is, it looks like this because of that product. I really, really like that Typology brow gel. The $1 Billion Brows is just, if you need extremely strong hold, sort of like crunchy hair gel, brow gel, and you don't know where to find it, this is one place that you can find it. Starting to feel a little more put together. This is the most interesting part of today's video, I feel. The Makeup Forever Artist Color Crayon Creamy Multi-Use Stick in the two most interesting shades to me in the launch. 432 Luminous Taupe, which doesn't have any shine in it or anything. It's just, that's just the shade name. It's not a shiny shade. They're both matte. And 506 Endless Cacao. Luminous Taupe is the lighter one here. That's kind of like potentially a bronzer color for me. And Endless Cacao is this brown. Y'all, the colors of my dreams, sort of, almost. But I mean, this is like really grungy, cool toned, true brown that's very difficult to find in makeup. And they're formulas that can purportedly be used for everything. They smell fruity and it isn't a good choice for whatever kind of chemical or just general makeup smell they were trying to cover up. It feels like a little awkward. I wish I'd gone with like something herbal. That's what I wish all the brands would do. Not necessarily mint or anything, but just not so sweet. It's not repulsive, but I'm not like really into it. And I was not expecting them to be scented. I'm not into that. The colors are kind of amazing on the lips. I will show you Luminous Taupe. It's one of those like dream lip colors for me, but my teeth look bad. Amazing. I will say the formula is nice and creamy and also light, like thin feeling. Definitely makes sense on the lips and works on the cheeks as well. I'm also going to put it on my eyes today, which I actually haven't done yet. I think part of why it has this smell is to make it make sense on the lips, because the instinct I think with this is just that it's for the cheeks and maybe for the eyes as well. Sometimes products like this, they're supposed to be multi-use, but they don't really lend themselves to anything other than the one thing. And they pretty successfully have made something that works for both. However, you can see it's really intense, right? That is a really intense lip color. I don't think they designed this as a lip color. It's just the kind of thing I'm always looking for in makeup. Teeth look a little weird. Not as bad as I thought. Let me show you how it looks on the cheeks. It works as a contour. A little bit of orange comes out of it, right? Just a little bit, but not as bad as a lot of things that are trying to do this, like trying to be this color. And I think that's because the shade range, they have a really wide shade range with a lot of warm and cool colors. So they were really able to maybe let go of trying to ground it in orange, which it seems like so many things, so many bronzer ranges, for example, do that with even with the lightest shades. I like that it's contouring my cheeks without really adding like a rosiness. This color, I'm definitely much more prone to wearing on my cheeks. I've been using it more as a blush, or really, it is really as kind of like a contour. I will sometimes put it on my lips to tone down other things. Like I'll mix it in. I'll put on a lip color. I'll feel like my face is sort of too bright, and then I'll go in and add a little bit of this to tone it down. However, it's the other one that I really love as a color, Endless Cacao, and that I've been reaching for more because again, this one, here, let me show you. The orange isn't really assertive, but it's there. It's lurking. Okay, here's 506 on the lips. I really love this as a lip color. They're very pigmented. And because I'm so pale, I have to buff it into my lips, blot it. Even still, it's pretty vampy on me. You know, like what I want is this color, but just either a lot less pigmented or lightened up. You know what I mean? Like mixed with my foundation, basically, so that it's more wearable in the daily, or like this as a tinted balm, you know? But the shade for a lip color, the tone, it's just really exciting to see shades like this in a brand that's at Sephora and in a product that you can put on your lips, cheeks, and eyes. Because for so long we've been plagued by just extremely orange, extremely pink shade ranges, lip colors, even cheeks, everything, bronzers, everything. So I'm really glad that they went there. And the formula, you know, it's pretty pleasant, right? It's pretty pleasant to work with. I'm going to try putting it on my eyes. What I've learned is that Endless Cacao, this one, as much as I think that I want a blush this color, and I see that and I'm like, that's my dream blush, it just looks like dirt on me. It's like way too dark, way too brown. There's not enough actual sort of nuance of something akin to a color my skin would ever actually turn to make it work on the cheeks. And I've tried. As soon as I opened it, I put it straight on my cheeks and I was like, uh-oh. Like, be careful what you wish for kind of thing. You know, it's amazing on the lips. This one works on the cheeks, but not on the lips. And I worry that if I put it on the eyes, then the orange will really start to come out. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both on the eyes. I'm going to try this on the eyes, the dark brown one. Excuse me, do I like it better on the eyes than anywhere else? Question is just, is it going to crease? Maybe it's just been a year and a half since I had eye makeup on and I forgot that it's pretty. Okay, I've calmed down a little bit since my first flush of excitement and joy. It feels a little bit like putting lipstick on your eyes because of the scent and the creaminess. I don't trust it not to crease, but I also feel like I'm not going to be able to tell today because I put that super oily Beauty Pie highlighter on my brow bone and it's definitely mixing with it, and that will probably cause it to crease even if it otherwise wouldn't. It's hard to imagine that it wouldn't though, because it's not dry enough. It's something that works as a lip color and a cheek color. It's just not dry enough, but it's so pigmented that it does feel a bit like the pigment is staining my lids in a pretty way, you know what I mean? In like a sexy way. I love that it's a little bit patchy and like didn't try too hard and put my makeup on in the back of a cab. I love the way that it looks right now. And this is making me want to wear it on my lids and wear stuff on my lids a lot. It's too much on the lips. Also, look, the pigment has clung to dry patches on my lips, which, you know, my lips are dry. So that's on my lips. But it's also, that's like the kind of thing that I think happens with such a multi-use product like this. It's designed to do everything and not necessarily to avoid the very specific potential pitfalls of individual makeup applications like lipsticks sometimes are. But there are definitely lipsticks on the market that would have done that too on my dry lips. So I like it. I like it as a cream blush. I like the color on the eyes. I like the fact that it has these colors. I've had them for a couple of weeks and I've enjoyed pulling them out from time to time. I think most of what in practice, what I end up using them for is to make my lipstick grungier, whether I'm using just one of these on its own or mixing one of them in with a different lip color, which I just end up doing a lot. It's been really fun to have them around. The thing that's most exciting is the shade range. And there are some other colors. I mean, I picked the sort of muckiest, grungiest ones that are just like dark brown and like contour, you know, for me. I think for other people, these will have other uses, but there are other shades that would make more sense as like a lip and cheek, depending on your taste and like your skin tone. Let's fix this lip situation. Did a little exfoliating. I'm putting it back on just a really thin layer. And that's exactly how I've been wearing it in my daily life. Like not applying a thick layer for YouTube to see what it looks like when you're doing the most, but like just using it to darken the lips kind of as a pigment. That's how I've been using it. KOSAS Soulgazer. This is a new mascara. I've tried to use it a couple times. I don't like it. It might be the wand or it might be the formula or it might be just that it's so wet and fresh, but it was very wet. It felt a little stringy. It felt like a lot. I just couldn't get it to do what I wanted. So I'm going to wipe off the wand in a bid to get a fluffy lash from this. I'm going to see if I can get it to do something a little bit more natural. Yeah, no, not really. When I first started going in on this eye, I thought that it was going to give me the fluffy lash I wanted. Then it's almost like mascara started coming out of the depths of the bristles and applying more more on the second eye, and this is exactly what it was doing the first couple times. It's causing all my lashes to stick together. It's turning my fan of lashes into like 5 spikes. And then as I try to build through, as I try to comb through to separate, it adds like a weird, like elongated string to the end of each spike, but then it's like going in the wrong direction. So weird, like the opposite of what I want it to be doing, or what I would want any mascara to be doing. Going better on the first eye where it started a little fluffy, but even that just feels uncontrolled. No, I do not like it. I do not like it. I don't know how many more times I will try to make this work, especially because I've had such success lately with Cali Ray and Kulfi mascaras. Like, I'm going to take the Cali Ray mascara and try to fix this. Ugh, it made it very dramatic, like more dramatic than what I would have chosen for this look. I was building on top of such a chunky base, but at least the Cali Ray wand made them a little fluffier. I'm using my finger to try to sort of remove basically some mascara and separate my lashes a little more. Okay, that's better, but I removed a lot of it. KOSAS is to me the definition of a hit or miss brand. And that one is a miss, I think. How are the lids doing? Yeah, creasing. Isn't it always the way? Like the dream eyeshadow, the dream cream eyeshadow is just a lipstick or a cream blush in terms of how it applies and how it looks after it's applied, but then it'll crease. Okay, I have one more thing that I haven't tried. And I was hoping I would get to this point in the video and kind of want to try it. And that is the case. It's old NARS PR that I just hadn't gotten around to. It's a cream blush. It's the NARS Afterglow liquid blush. And for some reason, I've pulled this. I have like a box of things that I'm meaning to try on YouTube. I pulled this out of that box and I just, or maybe I did try this on camera and I forgot. I don't think so though. I just look at that sort of watercolory brown ruddy shade that it turns. I feel like this needs a brush. I just want to see how I can get this to look. As with like almost all blushes, it's very bright on me. The color is very bright on me. But the fact that it blends out to something so watercolory and washy is what I thought would make it work. And it does work. It has become a very blush heavy look and it's canceled out intense neutrality of everything. I actually like how it ended up looking. And I like how that color went on over the oily highlight that I had on. I think it kind of saved it, right? I can go on to film new makeup hot takes and I feel like I'm going to be very fresh faced and appropriately made up for my job, which is here, sitting here on YouTube talking about new makeup releases. So yeah, that pulled it all together, but it was a pretty hit or miss day overall for trying new makeup and talking about makeup that I have been trying. Merit, it's a hit. I have gripes with the shade range, but it is a hit if you apply it in the way that I have learned it needs to be applied and think of it really as skincare. NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, it's been around for ages. I understand why it's a classic, right? It's definitely a hit, extremely utilitarian, still has use value even though makeup tastes have changed over time. Beauty Pie Triple Beauty Luminizing Wand, too oily. Really pretty, weirdly pretty, but oil on your face is pretty. And then it's just like, how's it gonna work with other things? I don't know if I'll use it again. Makeup Forever Creamy Multi-Use Sticks. I like them. I really like them. I think the smell is a little weird. The formula, I actually think probably doesn't work on the eyes, even if it's not mixed with weird oil. It's giving us some shades that aren't available in other places, but those shades might not be as multi-purpose as one would think, you know? Something that works for the lips might not work for the cheeks and vice versa. So in that way, they might not end up being as multi-purpose as one would hope, or as they're billed as being. If there's a shade you love and you just want like makeup with which to do whatever you want with that shade, they did a pretty good job of creating that. KOSAS new mascara, I don't like it. I probably won't continue to try to make it work because that was my most assiduous try. I had to fix it with something else. NARS Afterglow Liquid Blush in the shade Aragón. Did I say before the shade name? It's in the shade Aragón. This shade in particular is particularly beautiful. I think that it is really, really pretty, but I'll also probably give it away to a friend because I just don't want to be dealing with a shade that's this bright on me on a daily basis. I like it for today. I like how the look came out. I'm glad I was able to demonstrate it, but it's just richly colored blushes, brightly colored blushes like that. It's just too much. It's too much color for me to be versatile and to be worth like adding to my makeup bag. That is it. Thank you for spending this silly time with me. I hope that you enjoyed it and I hope you're doing okay. I really, really hope you are taking extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.